Hello there, people of the internet. I am out here with my 44 Magnum lever action. This is a Rossi R92. I have made a video on it before. I absolutely love this thing. Love how good it looks. Love how easy it is to use. Love the stock. Love the bluing, the finish. I love everything about this. So I am actually out here. I'm going to take some shots at my steel target down there. I want to see where the zero is at on this thing. See, I smacked the sights on it, and this does not have a front sight protector on it. So if I did throw off the zero on this rifle, I do want to go ahead and remediate that. That being said, ammunition is not free, and since I was going to expend the ammo anyway, I figured I'd come out and make a video while I did this. May as well talk about something. Since ammo is not free, if you want to support my work, Utreon and Patreon links are below. That will definitely help me make content and make content more often. So me and a buddy of mine were talking, and we were talking about old firearms, like really old firearms, like 15th century firearms. And we were talking about when something would be considered tactical. Now, whenever we think about tactical nowadays, we think about like rail systems and optic mounts and, you know, all the cutting edge features that go onto a firearm in order to make the firearm more capable for a tactically necessary situation, with lack of better terminology. Well, while we were talking, we were like, well, what would tactical be way back in the day? And I'm like, that's a good question. I think tactical doesn't necessarily mean what a lot of us kind of think that it means. So whenever we think tactical, we think like scary black rifle, we think, you know, the full rail system, we think optics, we think flip up sights, we think all this stuff. But that's just because that's what cutting edge technology is for firearms in our particular point in time. But if this was like the 1860s, if this was a Civil War, then, and you were just a Civil War soldier, Civil War grunt, and somebody had an 1860 Henry, well, lo and behold, that 1860 Henry, I guess, would be considered way more tactical than the musket, the muzzleloader that the average foot soldier would be using. Not only was it rifled and held a lot more than one round, it was also much more accurate, with muzzleloaders being slow loading and smooth barrel. They tend to be pretty inaccurate. So I guess tactical really depends on the time period that you're talking about. Nowadays, if we were to have something like this antiquated design, if this was, like I said, 1860, then this right here would absolutely 110% be considered something that is tactical. However, this right here is absolutely considered antiquated technology by today's standards. And by today's standards, a lot of people will try and make something like this more tactical by adding on rail systems and maybe a larger loop and adding on a way to mount some sort of optic onto these. And, you know, now we have side ejecting lever actions, so you can mount a scope onto this. And I mean, there's collapsing and folding stocks on these that I've seen. There's a lot of things that can make a lever action into a tactical firearm. But that is just because we have those offerings today. It's an interesting concept how tactical doesn't always necessarily mean what you put on a rifle. It means like what technology is available to put on the rifle. And it's just a fascinating concept that me and my buddy had kind of come up with. When does it become tactical? Well, it depends on when it is that you're talking about. Nowadays, it becomes tactical whenever you have all your cutting edge features on it. But 150, 200 years ago, it became tactical whenever it could put more lead downrange more accurately. And maybe it had better sights on it. I mean, who knows? Who knows what scenario we're talking about, what time frame we're talking about. If it is like the 1500s or 1400s, and your basic firearm was basically just a tube that you would hold like this, and you either took like a fuse that you lit or like a smoking twine, whatever those are called, that you would put into a flash hole to set off your projectile. If you were to have like, say, a muzzle loader, something with an actual stock, and maybe something that even has like a sight trough carved into the top of the barrel, that would be considered like tremendously tactical compared to your tube that you would hold on your shoulder like this and light with some sort of external lighting system. If you had yourself a flintlock, then my God, you were way above the curve in firearms technology. So yeah, tactical. I think tactical depends less on the actual specific technology. And I think it absolutely depends more on the time period that you're talking about. You know, every time I cycle this, I can feel, since these are such large, heavy rounds, this is 44 Magnum, 44 Special lever action. Since they're such large, heavy rounds, I can feel the next round drop onto the elevator whenever I cycle this action. I think it's just a weird feeling. Okay, well, I'm gonna aim at the center of the target, and I want to see where this thing hits. I'm expecting it to be around that. Actually, I got this zeroed out for 100 yards, so it's probably gonna be a little high. So I'm gonna aim a little under the center of the target. And yeah, I mean, that seems to hit pretty much exactly where I want it to hit. So that's actually pretty sweet. It is a little high, but not by much. Yep, I smacked the same exact spot. Okay, so I would say the zero on this is probably okay. And this thing is easy to shoot because it's a not all that potent round. Yeah, not a lot of recoil. The smoke from smoke's kind of burning my eyes though. Smoke from the spent casing that I just expended. Alright, that one was a little low, but that was entirely me. And this is reusable brass, which is why I'm saving my cartridges here. Ah, okay, let me find that brass before it's gone forever. Aha! Almost lost it. Almost gave up hope on finding that one. Alright, well, hunting down the brass is worth being able to go. That's such a satisfying action. I would also point that tacticality is also based along firearms design. Like, we have a very, very good firearms design nowadays, but if you're rocking an antiquated design like this, even if you throw optic and rail system and whatnot on this thing, it still wouldn't be as tactically viable as some of the platforms that we would have nowadays that we would actually run in a tactical role. That's just my opinion. A lot of people have varying opinions. They're like, this right here is just as good as anything else that is on the market, and the fact that people are not using these to defend themselves, they're absolute idiots because this is the best system. And there's just people out there that are so wholeheartedly invested in one system or the other, and you cannot do anything to change their minds. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. That being said, thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all's time. Like, subscribe, share. Description down below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go ahead and go check that out. This was a fun time, and I'm glad to see that me dropping this rifle, because I dropped it pretty good. I'm glad to see that me basically slamming this rifle into the ground, body slamming this. I'm glad to see that it's strong enough to not have these sights knocked off with a drop like that. That means it'll probably be good for the excavations that I'll probably be going on and bringing this rifle with me for. So thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. I don't know if I said this already, so I'm just going to say go off, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.